Good morning. It's Monday. I hope you all had a great weekend. We are back on the mat and we traveled this weekend. And so today I want to focus on just kind of tapping into that yin, kind of bringing things back down, calming it down. And so we're going to do a yin practice. So that's Izzy and that's Lydia. They're coming to say hi, I guess. So we're going to do a yin practice. So grab some props. I have with me a bolster, my blocks, and then I've got some extra pillows. So if you don't have traditional yoga props, just grab a bunch of pillows or blankets. Any of those things are going to be really useful in yin because when we are doing yin, we want to have our poses supported in some fashion. It's less about being super intense and kind of the movement and the flow. That's the yang style. So the yin is the flip side. It's not quite restorative, but it is a slower tapping into the myofascial system, getting into the nervous system. And it's a really nice way to kind of bring things down, turn things inward, and kind of reset. So grab some props and we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll start with just finding a comfortable seat, sitting on your feet or a prop in a chair, whatever feels good to you. Let those shoulders roll back and down and take a big breath in. Exhale it out. 2 more times. Big breath in. Exhale it out. 1 last time. Big in. Nice and slow out. Good. Just allow those shoulders to sink away from the ears. Let your hips be heavy. Your spine is long. So we're just taking these first few minutes and we're checking in with our body. We're checking in with our breath, our physical body, our mental space. It just gives us an opportunity to become observant of what's happening in the body. Because if we get in the habit of doing that, then when we're on the mat, then we'll do it off the mat as well. So just take these first few minutes, scan through the body. I love a good body scan where you're just kind of working your way down the body and just checking in, saying, oh, my neck might be a little bit irritated this morning. Maybe I slept funny, or a shoulder, back, hips, just all the way down to the toes. And then I like to go back up and just double check, see if anything has come up now that I've been sitting for just a minute or two. Sometimes we sit down and everything feels good, but the longer we sit there, the more our body is saying, oh, actually, your back's tired or your shoulders are tired, and we're starting to shift into our physical bodies a little bit more. So taking just a few more moments here, noticing how your body's taking up space. And we'll take one more breath here. Exhale it out. And then we'll come off of our prop or our seats. And we're going to come just to a seated position, so on the ground. And we're going to start with the bottoms of our feet together. For this pose, we are targeting a little bit, maybe inner thighs. We're talking about the low back just a little bit. So this is a butterfly, but traditionally we bring it in really far in our yang style of practice. In our yin style, it doesn't really matter. You can choose. It's more about how your body feels than how it looks. So bottoms of the feet together, and then just legs in any position that feels good. And then start to grab some of your props. So for example, like my legs are still lifted quite a bit. So I think I'm actually going to take a little pillow and just kind of prop it just under a little bit to give it a little bit of support. And then I'm going to tuck the chin and just start to lean forward. Now, I don't want to be just hanging out in space. So that's where our other props are going to come in. So grab some more pillows. You can hold onto the pillows. You can stack pillows, whatever feels good. If you have a bolster, a lot of times you can kind of bend your bolster and just kind of lean into it, kind of have like an inclined pillow. You can also just start stacking things on top of your feet until maybe you have a little space where your head can rest and your arms can rest. So take a minute and just adjust, find a good position for you. And as we're doing this, we're trying to find the edge of comfort. So what does that mean? The edge of comfort is this idea that we're going to feel sensation in our body, but it's not so intense that the breath catches or that we don't feel like we could settle in for several minutes. So we're just trying to find that first little barrier, that first little edge of being so comfortable you could just settle in and fall asleep, and then feeling a deeper sensation. And it is active propping. So maybe after a little bit, you find that you want to lower your props because you've melted into it a little bit. And then once you find that position, we're just going to hang out. Now, in my traditional classes that I teach in the studio, we'll hold these for a good 5 minutes. We're going to hold them a little less for this video. I do recognize sometimes it's a little bit hard to find that stillness when you're on your own or watching a video. When you're in a class, there's a different energy to it. We are going to stay here for a minute or two. If you decide to retake this class, sometimes having a little bit of music, just kind of gentle music, can help to allow you to settle into that stillness. Sometimes stillness can be hard. Just taking a few breaths, and then we'll just sit in silence, listening to the inhale and exhale of your breath. If the mind starts to wander, just bring it back to the breath. And just allow one breath to flow into the next. Letting your attention turn inward. Just allowing yourself to melt and noticing the sensation in the body. We'll take just one more breath here. And then we'll slowly come up. Use my watch to set a timer and it's not working for me, so I apologize. Come on up. So we're going to clear off our props and we're going to take a rebound. So a rebound is a shavasana that we take in between our poses in a yin class. And so go ahead and just scoot down and just take a basic shavasana or corpse pose. So ankles as wide as your mat and just lying on your back. And we're just going to stay here for a few breaths. So this rebound allows us to integrate the pose. It allows our body to adjust our connective tissue, which is what we're stretching. It's a piece of what we're doing in a yin practice. The connective tissue is in and around every fiber in our body. So take one more breath. And then we're slowly going to come up and we're going to set up, actually for our next posture, we're going to return to our back. So sorry about that. We're going to come back to the ground. Have your props nearby just in case you need a little bit of support. I'm going to grab my pillows for this. And so we're going to come down. And I want you to take the left leg long and just hug the right leg towards your chest. And so you have a couple of choices with this. And again, it's not about what it looks like, it's about what it feels like. So bringing that right knee towards your chest, maybe you kind of hug it wide. Or maybe you grab your right hand onto that right ankle, or maybe right hand to the outside of the foot for a half happy baby. So again, there's no right or wrong. You can hold on to the ankle. You can kind of wrap both arms around the leg. We're just looking for that sensation, and it might adjust, it might change during this practice. So the pillows, maybe you want a little bit of support for your head. Maybe that feels like what you need. Maybe You're feeling a little bit of pull in that knee, and you want to maybe just kind of give that knee a little more space. So whatever might feel comfortable, just kind of add a little bit of support through this. And once you find your perfect pose for today, and it might be different from tomorrow, I want you to just tap into that breath again. Breathe into it, noticing how it feels. Just holding on to that sensation. Letting that exhale melt you deeper into the pose. So I'm not actively like reaching with my left leg and pulling this in. This is a little more passive. So again, in a yang style class or a hatha vinyasa, your straight leg would be actively pressing toward the wall. It's not this time. It's just laying there. You're just holding this right leg in, maybe holding it wide. Again, maybe moving into half happy baby. And then I want you to soften as much as you can. So it's not about being as active, it's about being a little more passive in it. Feeling deep into it, noticing the places in your body where maybe you are feeling sensation. Now, there is a little bit of activation in this pose, but we're trying to keep it to a minimum while still maintaining that level of sensation. And then it's about time. It's about sitting with it and breathing into it. And letting the body just open up. Slow, steady breaths. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release that leg. And again, we're moving into that Shavasana, that corpse pose. And so arms just come out to the side, legs long, feet can kind of open wide. And maybe notice if there's any difference between the right side of the body and the left side of the body. One more breath. And then we're going to switch sides. So bringing that left knee in toward your chest. Again, feel free to take a little bit of a pillow or something behind the knee if you'd like a little bit more support. Arms can go behind the knee. It really is up to you. But again, we're looking for a level of sensation. So what does that mean? So I like to think of a 1 to 10 scale, about a 6. So it's not so intense. It's not your end range. It's not as deep as you can go. It's not as big of a stretch as you might feel in a different practice. This is about a little slower, a little more subtle, but also I believe in a longer lasting stretch and sensation in the body. So tapping into that. And again, know what the level of comfort on this side might be. So is it holding the knee straight in? Is it holding it wide? Is it maybe grabbing onto the ankle? Is it maybe making it a little bit higher up on the ankle? Maybe it's the foot. Maybe you need something different on this side. Whatever it might be, just breathe into that space. Again, finding that level of sensation in the body. Breathing into that space. And connecting with that breath, softening any place in the body that doesn't need to be engaged. Noticing the places that you're feeling those sensations. And again, it's okay to adjust. If your body starts to open and you lose the sensation, maybe you move a little bit deeper. Trying to be as soft in the pose as you can while still keeping the pose active. Again, this is one of those poses that is a little more active. So breathing into that space. Take one more breath here. And then go ahead and release. And we'll take our Shavasana. Again, this is a rebound. We're going to take it in between each yin pose. Sometimes we'll do the right side and the left side and then do a rebound. Sometimes we'll do it between sides. And just staying here for a few breaths, allowing our body to adjust. Again, maybe noticing, scanning through, how does the right side and left side feel? Does it feel a little more even and balanced? Does it not? Do you feel different things? There's no right or wrong. It's just really about noticing and observing. One more breath. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and bend the knees. And you have two choices. So we're going to do a recline pigeon. If you would prefer to take full pigeon, you are absolutely welcome to. We'll just prop it nice and deeply. So for recline pigeon, we're going to take our right ankle to our left thigh. So right ankle comes to the left thigh. And my ankle is actually past my leg. I don't want it to be here on my foot. I really want my ankle to be able to move free. And then I'm going to extend my arms, and a similar thing, I'm going to wrap them either around the shin or behind the knee of that left leg. Okay, so let's talk about propping. So first, you are welcome to take a pillow or a little something under the shoulders. Maybe this is a little bit of a stretch, so maybe propping up the head and shoulders would help a little bit. The other option is to take a pillow, and maybe you come and put it underneath the bottom part. Again, maybe that just helps the hips come up a little bit so that you can reach a little easier. Those are two really easy things that we can add in to give ourselves a nice stretch. So again, we're thinking about how it feels, not how it looks. Feel into that sensation. So for me, I'm really feeling it in my right outer hip and kind of a little bit into my hamstrings. That's where I hold a lot of the tension. So there might be other places that you're going to feel it. If you feel it in the knee, then we need to adjust propping a little bit. We need to activate the leg a little bit, or maybe we take a full pigeon. So again, this is our recline pigeon. So if you're in recline pigeon, hang out here. I will demonstrate real quick about full pigeon. So if you need to get off your back a little bit and would like to do full pigeon looks like this. So this is full pigeon. And again, really important to add in those props. So maybe the pillow comes underneath that right hip. Maybe you have one under both sides for a little bit of support. If your foot tends to cramp, a really good adjustment is to add something underneath that back leg so that your ankle doesn't have to flex as much. And then again, feel free to grab some props and settle down. So recline pigeon or full pigeon. We'll hang out here for a couple of minutes. I'll return to recline pigeon today. So breathing into that. Softening in any way you can. keeping the jaw soft. So there is an element of relaxation. Taking the time to let the body unwind. Let's take one more breath. And then go ahead and release. And again, we'll take a short rebound. So taking legs long. If you've done full pigeon, you can take rebound on your belly. It doesn't have to be on your back. Just take a moment, and we're allowing ourselves to be in a position where gravity can press into us and there is no effort needed. We can just melt into the floor. We'll take one more breath here, and then we'll transition to the other side. So bending the knees. If you are on your back, left ankle comes to right thigh. And again, I can move my ankle. So my ankle is a little bit past my leg. I'm going to reach up and either grab in front of the shin or behind the knee. And again, feel free to use these props, pillow underneath the shoulders to bring the legs in a little bit. Maybe you could slide something evenly under the hips to bring them in, to kind of cradle the body. Breathing into that space. So again, looking for that sensation, and we're not looking for a 10. So on a 1 to 10 scale, it should be like a 6. It's an enjoyable amount of intensity. It's like, oh, it's a feels so good intensity. We can settle into it. We can breathe into it. Our breath can be slow and easy. Times we go into postures and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so intense. How am I going to hold this? That's too deep into the pose, in my opinion. You want to ease off of that edge. That's too far over the edge. We're looking for the edge of comfort. So you're comfortable, and then we just push past that a little bit. And again, if you're going to take a full pigeon, I will show you what that looks like. So a full pigeon, the left knee comes toward the left wrist. And again, I'm going to prop. I'm going to throw maybe a pillow or a block underneath that hip. Maybe I come down onto a bolster and I use a block to support my head. I really encourage you, if you are doing full pigeon, to have something to support the head, to allow the neck to soften. Staying here for just another minute. Full pigeon or recline pigeon. One more breath. And slowly come out of this. We'll take our rebound. So making your way into a Shavasana. And allowing your whole body to sink and settle. One more breath. And then we are going to return to our backs. I'm going to set my props aside, but I am going to grab my pillows or blanket, can be anything. We're going to do a twist. I always really like to incorporate a twist into a practice because I don't feel like we often do enough twisting in our lives. And I think the twisting is really important for the ribs. So we're going to bend our knees, feet on the floor, and just shift your hips just a little bit to the right. And then bring your ankles up to the height of your knees, and the legs are going to fall to the left. So we're rotating the lower body to the left. So props can be underneath both legs and or between knees. So those are the two places that I find the most, that I encourage you to try to prop and see what feels good. So maybe you want to do the full twist. Maybe your legs don't quite touch the ground. So then add a couple of props so that your legs are just not hanging in the joints. So if my leg is here, this leg is now hanging in this hip joint. So let's add that little bit of support so that it doesn't have to hang so deeply in the joints. We don't want to hang in the joints if we can avoid it. So taking a deep breath into this rotation. So my right shoulders, the side, arms can be wherever is comfortable. Your gaze can be up toward the sky, over to the right. It really depends on what feels good in your body. We're just breathing into that twist. So we are getting a little bit of a pec stretch maybe if your arm is out to the side. Palms facing up, at that external rotation is a really lovely way to open up the chest. So we're opening up the chest, side ribs, low back, maybe around into the hips. So we're giving a nice squeeze to the inner body. And again, taking that time to let the body settle. Breathing into the places that feel as though they're holding on a little bit, they're gripping or restricted. Deep, full breath. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly release, leading with that top leg. Again, taking that rebound, legs long, arms down by the side. Allow a big breath in and slowly exhale. Noticing how it feels in the body. Follow the breath. We'll take one more breath. And then we'll repeat on the other side. So bending the knees, place the feet on the floor, lift your hips up, shift them over to the left this time. Grab that pillow. Ankles come up to the height of the knees, and this time the legs fall to the right. And then again, using your props to either maybe a pillow underneath the bottom leg, or maybe between the legs, or both. Find what feels good in your body today. And it might be different from side to side. Arms can come out to the side, palms facing up. And then breathing into that space. Maybe we're getting a little bit of a stretch through the chest. Giving the internal body a nice kind of wringing out with a twist. I love the way that the body can really respond through the shoulders and ribs, low back into hips, lots of different places in the body. They can really benefit from some rotation. So imagine that you could breathe some space into the places in the body that are a little restricted. Maybe noticing if you're gripping anywhere. Is your body bracing or trying to hold on? And if it is, see if you can exhale and just soften into it. And again, our yin practice is an active propping. So maybe after a few minutes, maybe you don't need the pillow in the same way and you can remove it. That's perfectly acceptable to make adjustments. But do it slowly and mindfully, really allowing yourself to stay in that meditative state where we're really turning the focus inward, staying connected with the breath. We'll take one more breath here. And then leading with that top leg. We'll take one final Shavasana. So taking the legs long, arms out to the side. Deep breath in. Exhaling, let the whole body sink. Take 5 deep, full, slow breaths. And after that 5th breath, bend your knees, roll to your side. Press into the floor to slowly come up. Find a comfortable seat. Take a moment and just check back in with your body, physical, mental. Noticing how you're feeling after today's practice. Thank you all for coming, and I will see you next week. Namaste.